Can I, before we enter the topic?
Before?
Yeah, before.
Is there something?
Yes.
What had happened, Jeff?
On the subject of giver,
what have you done?
Receiver and taker. Okay, I must give you an apology for last week because I rode you hard and put you away wet. I shouldn't have done that.
And put you away wet.
Yeah, rode hard and put away wet. That's a horse term.
No, but fortunately, I have ADD flirting with Alzheimer's, so I don't even remember. I have trouble remembering where to park.
You know how sometimes we get on the conversation of the evils of Whitey, and that can take up a 5-6 hour show, and we only got 2 hours. So I sometimes make you guilty for all of the sins of the people who have sent me, and I can't do that because I love you. I love you. So I'm giving you.
You like this white one?
I like this one.
This white one is okay.
When the revolution starts,
Whitey
I got
locks
the doc.
Is okay.
I got the doc plus 2.
So you hiding
I'm gonna hide
Whitey
the doc
locks
plus
in the
2.
basement.
I'm gonna have the doc and 2. That's
bring your
all
wife.
Don't bring 3, 4. Bring 2.
Noah's apartment.
Yeah.
So instead of get even plus 10%, it's get Whitey locks plus 2.
Yeah, it's
hilarious.
I'm with you.
You're gonna be on DeAndre Schindler's list.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah,
listen,
I love you, man.
Man, thank you for doing that, Jeff Brown. That's stand up. That's
here,
real man
I did it
business.
on the air. I'm gonna apologize on the air.
Wow.
Grown ass man. All right.
So with that said, let's intro the topic. The Tao of manipulation. Has this become the world's and relationships' most practiced belief system? Are we all just manipulators, users, usurpers of everyone's resources? I've got questions.
Sheet of paper, please.
Oh, goodness. Is emotional abuse,
paper, you're just a taker.
right, a type of manipulation that can be the hardest to overcome and the hardest to detect? What's the number? 855-878-4652. Is an emotionally abusive and manipulative lover / spouse a telltale sign that your lover or husband or wife could be a psychopath? I mean, people label it psychopath. I don't know. I think I ain't gonna tell you what I think. Are the victim-minded people the best manipulators? People who play the victim role. That's their position in every situation. Are those the best manipulators? Somebody call us. Who's the best at manipulating? With regards to gender, men or women? I think Frank the engineer knows that answer. Look at him. I've been manipulated my whole life by that broad. Somebody call us. 855.
I'm out of money and now it burns when I pee.
Oh, no.
Can master manipulators be linked to mental illness? A lot of people like to do that. Narcissism is considered a mental illness, right? And narcissists are considered to be master manipulators too.
That's
yeah? Right? I don't know.
Lady was roller skating. She fell down. I ran up to her and said, "I'm okay."
Who are the world's most effective manipulators? Very good question here. Politicians, preachers, parents,
Or babies.
spouses, babies, pimps, or marketing and promotion specialists. Manipulation is ubiquitous, right? So why is it a problem? If everybody has it, I remember Dr. G told us, narcissism is so pervasive on the globe that they took it out of the DSM, right? Well, let's just take it out. Everybody's fucking nuts, right? If that's the case, why are we doing a show about manipulators? It seems to be pervasive, and it seems to be how we get down, right? If that's the case, let's get into it. We've got guests. Let's introduce our first guest. She's in studio. She drove from Madagascar, I'm told.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Texas, right?
Same thing.
Pretty much.
Jeez, right? She brought a giant brain to this. It's here. I wish you could see it. It's a giant brain.
It's huge.
That's a big ass brain.
Wow, that is...
Don't hurt yourself. Yes. There's a giant brain in the studio right now.
That's Brett's brain from Pulp Fiction.
Her name is, we're going to call her a doctor before she gets it, but she's right there. And she's working on it. I mean, she's a nat poot away from PhD, right? Her name is, we're going to call her Dr. Lynette Louise, also known as the Brain Broad.
The Brain Broad.
Right. She's raised 8 kids, 6
kids.
were adopted, and 4 had a myriad of brain disorders. I don't know how she was able to navigate those children's minds, but she did it, and she's here to talk about manipulators. Let's go deeper. Welcome to the Voice of Reason.
Thank you so much.
The ZWMS show.
God bless you. She adopted
bless you.
6
Wow,
kids.
wow.
Well, thank you. See, I can put you on the nice side right off the bat. But let's back up a little bit, because you were saying this thing about white people, and I'm white, and I'm sitting over here.
You got to prove yourself.
I'm in the hot seat. Are
No,
you
you're not.
manipulating me?
No.
Are you trying to right off
No,
the bat
no.
get me in the
Are
discomfort
you playing the
zone?
black community victim card?
Let me be real clear. I'll come straight up the street with my shit. Okay? You have nothing to do with the white people. The white people I'm talking about, they ain't gonna have nothing to do with you, because you regular. I'm talking about the power elite that none of us know. That's why y'all, yeah.
Regular
All right, I
white.
just had to get
Regular
that
white
clear
folks.
before.
No, I don't have a problem with regular white folks.
That's interesting. Regular white.
Regular white folks, I don't have a problem with.
Great.
I'm almost Dr. Regular White Folk. Well,
Yeah,
I am
white
ready to tell you about manipulation right here and right now.
So I asked a lot of questions. Let's get into it. Like, victimhood, right? Is that like the hallmark of a manipulator? Can we go into that?
Well, actually, maybe we should define manipulation.
Please.
You really can't do anything if you don't make a definition. And
Please.
the fact is, to manipulate is to maneuver something. So I can take a screwdriver and I can manipulate it to get the screw to go in. So the word manipulate has been given connotations. And we have a problem with semantics in our society anyways. We take a word that is a beautiful word that has great meaning and that's kind of a natural phenomenon in human beings, and every cell of your body has been designed to try and control. And so to manipulate is a good thing. In fact, it's a child's job. If a child cannot manipulate his environment, he can't get control of it. He can't learn from it. So manipulating in and of itself is not a bad thing. So let's get that clear so that we can then say, well, when is it good and when is it not good? Do we even want to use value judgments? I try to avoid them, but if I'll go there with you, I'll play.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to put a value judgment on it, then I would say, yes, if you're into victimhood, you are drawing. I have this thing that I like to explain to children. If I pull my fist, you'll naturally respond. You'll run or you'll duck. So if you run or duck, some people will pull their fist. And they are a dance that go together.
Wow.
With the music.
It just
The
sounds
yin
like
and
the
the
human
yang of the
condition
pull fist.
is about manipulation. We're about to take a quick break. When we come back, more questions, more insights, more guests. It's about to get crazy. The ZWMS Morning Show, we in the building. We'll be back at 2.2.
The greatest terrorist is not Al-Qaeda or Osama bin Laden. Those are just fictions of the imagination. The greatest terrorists are actually media. I'm going to say it again. The greatest terrorist is media, mass media, the mainstream and the alternative. That's the greatest terrorist. This includes alternative news, too. The alternative news, truth movement mouthpieces that terrorize people with all these fear-mongering propositions of global domination and control by the Illuminati. My wife is smiling at me. See, I've been through all of the propaganda, too, myself, too, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get upset, either. Don't get upset. No need to get upset, because I've been there. I don't want to get emotional, because that's what it's all about. It's about emotionalism. Reptilian shapeshifters is about emotionalism. FEMA death camps is about emotionalism. H1N1 and swine flu and bird flu is about emotion that cause you to react emotionally. There's no need to be emotional, ladies and gentlemen. See, I've been through all the propaganda, and we're going to get into some of those propaganda pieces, like the Y2K and the global financial collapse. Well, whatever happened to Y2K anyway? And the FEMA death camps and coffins and massive population reduction, the BP oil spill, the greatest ecological catastrophe of our time, both the mainstream and the alternative news, that's nothing more than a psyop, ladies and gentlemen. It wasn't real. Mainstream news, they say there's a massive oil spill. Alternative news, there's a massive oil spill. Alternative news, they take it a step further because they create even more boogeyman. So for the mainstream, it's just BP. Okay, you should be mad at BP. Alternative news, they create even more. They always do this. Alternative news, they just build, they fear monger. So they say it's BP. Yes, be fearful of BP. But you also need to be fearful of Corexit, because they're spraying this on this mass amount of oil that no one ever saw. And that corrects it. It's being used for population reduction. Oh, now you need to be fearful. Now, okay, now you got it. And it's an inside job. BP oil spill. Now you got to be concerned with the government too. BP, British Petroleum. You also got to be fearful of people, whoever it is, military industrial complex, whatever it is. The spring corrects it for population reduction. You got to be fearful of the government. You got to be fearful of all types of things now. Just fear mongering. I call this mass media fear mongering.
Or mass media stuttering.
Oh my God!
I don't know.
I'm afraid of whatever drug he did before.
Way too many syllables he was trying to get out at once.
Uppers.
Jeez.
They were uppers.
Wow. But
He
he
made
did
some good
bring up a
points.
point. Now, I'm not going to question the BP oil spill. I don't have to go to the Gulf to know that some terrible shit happened in the Gulf with
Yeah.
BP and oil. I don't have to go there to know
Gave
that.
fish oil a whole different name.
We don't have to jump into the Pacific to know, that Fukushima, what is
Yeah,
that over there?
Fukushima.
Yeah. Radioactivity. We don't have to go to Chernobyl.
No, I don't have
know.
to glow to
Right.
know.
I don't have to glow to know. How about that? So, but he brings up some valid points. The media manipulates. We get a neutered diet version of news that tells us what to think as opposed to what's actually going on, right? Is that not true? Fox News has a position they hold, right? And so do the other MSNBCs and all of that. They're telling us, what to think. They're not really reporting what it is, right? So let's talk about that. Manipulation in the media. Is manipulation brain broad? Right? She brought a brain in here that's pink ass convolution.
Yeah.
Right? Brain broad, tell us, right? Is there good manipulation? Is it good that the media can manipulate us to keep certain things out of the way?
Does everybody's brain have a pink ass?
Well, I think
Or
we'll
a
save
gray
that.
ass.
I think we'll save the brain ass stuff for after I answer the manipulation point,
Absolutely.
because I don't want to distract anyone and get their pheromones going. So let's go straight to the concept of, is manipulation good or is it bad? Manipulation's just manipulation.
It's like
what
fire.
Right. It's what you do with it. Right. So a baby is born and they cry and they have the mother that runs over and feeds them every time they cry. The baby learns to cry. You have the baby who gets fed on a schedule. That baby learns something different. They're learning to manipulate their environment. If they do not learn to manipulate their environment, they may starve. It's an important part of who we are. Jump way over to when you got a teenager. One of the things I used to say to my teenagers is, they'd say, can I borrow the car? And I'd say, what do I get out of it? Now, I taught them to manipulate, but I taught them to manipulate me in a way that was straight in their face and said, look, manipulate me, make me want it, make me want it, make me want it, make sure I get something, make sure I'm that whole giver and receiver. Right. The problem is that in our society and most societies, we fight what's already organically there. We call it bad, and we try to change it, and then it gets warped. And you end up in this media mess nonsense that you have.
Dr. G, you had some points, and I also want you to go into a little bit about emotional blackmail as well, but go into your points you had.
Is it Lynette?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
The brain broad.
the brain broad.
BB.
Baby.
LL BB.
No, I think she makes a good point. It depends what the desired outcome of the game is. So I think bad game playing is when you're trying to get more than you need and more than you deserve. It's
That's everybody.
Well,
That's
no. I mean, if you
Let's be absolute about
no,
it.
if you are truly needful, as opposed to claiming to be, then if you're starved and you got to eat to live, then and you do whatever you can, you manipulate whatever you can, or else you're going to starve. But I think it's bad when the game you're playing serves your ego and serves greed and serves your wanting to take advantage of other people.
Brandy, can you save me here? Because it sounds like he's describing mostly everybody we've ever met. It's a rarity that you find somebody that's like, hey, I don't want anything.
For God so loved the world.
Well,
It's a rarity.
It's very rare, but it does happen. But
Of
we do
course.
live in a world where greed is prevalent, and in order to get what people want, people are just greedy and they manipulate you. And you got to learn. I think you got to learn to see the manipulation coming.
We've been manipulating women for years.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm going to pattern my behavior off of your beliefs. because I know you're looking for a behavioral confirmation. I think this way. Most men don't articulate how we feel as well as women. We're not the best talkers about it, most of us. There's some out there that are really good, but most of us speak behaviorally. You Christian? I'm Christian. Let's go to church. You're into the gentleman? I'll pull the chair out, right? I'll push it back. I'll pick up the tab. I'll do everything I need to do until I get
It is all
what I want.
Pavlovian. It's
Right?
all Pavlovian
yes.
for the panties.
So that's manipulation, is it not?
Yes.
And I want you to be very, very good at that manipulation, please.
I don't.
Wow.
I
just
don't.
think we don't interface with our real selves. I think it's this dance, this game that Dr. G. Is it all game? Are we all gaming each other for whatever resources we think we need?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think what happens is you get taught to do that incorrectly, and then you go ahead and you game until you get her, and then you go, okay, now I want to be myself. You go ahead and be yourself.
And then they hate you.
Right.
Who the hell are you?
Yeah.
Not the guy I picked.
I picked a stereotype or a concept or a fantasy. That's why I always tell women, don't date your ideas unless you've challenged them, right? Most people don't challenge their ideas. Usually the idea is born out of some need, some hurt, some trauma. Then you create this construct, this coping mechanism.
This gauntlet.
And remember we said most people are dating a coping mechanism. They project that thought process out. They attract that person to it. And you really never interface on an authentic level. It's coping mechanisms, kissing and humping and trying to build.
But do you think that's absolutely the case?
I think that's absolutely the case,
well,
Brandy.
okay then, so
FYI, I manipulate children from illness to health. I use it purposefully.
Let's hear this.
Right.
Go deeper.
Well, I travel internationally, globally, and I work with brain disorders, and my intention is to change behavior. The way you change behavior is through the manipulating of the rewards. And the way
say
that
more.
okay, so for example, if I see a child, I walk in and I'll give you an exact example.